Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory to our power, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shah, Bahashem Rachakwadash, double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect of the tabernacles of David, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, whomever you may be, wherever you may be. Shalom, Yasharallah, Shalom. All right, I just want to get into a few scriptures here. Should be real brief. Just a few scriptures jotted down, through the Spirit. So this is 2 Corinthians 9 and 6, and pretty much because, talking about the talk of Jacob's trouble, there's no carnal preparation that we can or should be doing. Now, of course, if you can get extra things, it's fine, but you can't count on those things. You should be counting on those things because, the time where you have to be a pilgrim, you may very well end up not around those things, not with your bug out bag, or not being able to go back to the house, or however the case may be. All right. Or maybe those things only come in handy for a short time and then you have to leave, but you stopped up way more than your stay at your home. Okay. So we don't count on those things. No carnal solution. There's no carnal solution to what we're dealing with this time period known as Jacob's trouble. All right. We have a spiritual preparation that we should be applying to ourselves, to, case in point, to prepare for these times. All right. And, at the end of the day, because the scriptures, also talk about, as a matter of fact, you know what, bear with me because I want to put a couple of things up that are extra I don't have. All right. So I have his word here put up on the screen, which is grief. Okay. The word grief, it says deep sorrow, especially that caused by someone's death. Also says trouble or annoyance. Okay, grief. And we're going to all have to be well acquainted with grief. It doesn't mean that it should hinder your walk. You shouldn't lose faith by things that transpire, because you might see your parents, get toe tagged in front of you, or your children, all right, or other family members, okay, other brothers, or however the case may be, okay. But you cannot let those things stop you in your path. You cannot let those things get you down, which is why learning what the scriptures say is very important, dealing with particular topics like that. As we always mention, 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, okay. The dead in the Messiah shall rise first, then afterwards those of us that remain. Okay, so there are going to be individuals who may end up turning on you and seek to take your life or turn you in, or however the case may be. And then there's going to be individuals who are actually, solid, but you may witness them, their spirit being transitioned back to the spiritual realm. And you're going to have to move forward. Okay, it's not that you're not going to have any emotions, but in Jacob's trouble, more than any time period, is where we're going to have all of our emotions in check. Okay, and part of having those emotions in check is being acquainted with grief and sorrow, knowing that those things are going to occur, and you don't know what angle it's going to come from. Okay, I want to pull up another word here. Right, the word solitude. It says the state or situation of being alone. Also says a lonely or uninhabited place. And that's also something we're going to have to be acquainted with, solitude. Okay, because the one that you hope to be around may be the very one or ones, all right, that the Lord takes you away from because you're too comfortable with being with those certain individuals. Okay. And so in order to truly test your faith, he may strip you away from those individuals to make sure that your testing, all right, that phase of testing that you have to go through in Jacob's trouble is properly tested. All right. It's not going to be easy. Okay. It's not just going to be a cakewalk. And if you're always around those who you love and trust, it makes that walk easier. And then what it also does is it gives you a little bit too much comfort, where you're a little bit too comforted. Okay. And you may forget that it is the fear of the Lord that's the main thing at hand. The testing of our faith and the fear of the Lord. So these are two things that we're all going to have to be acquainted with. All right. Grief and solitude. Not saying you will be by yourself, but in the case where you are found by yourself, you're going to have to be okay with that. And that should not shake your faith. Okay. Which is more heavier for those who are used to being around others. For those of us that are used to being by ourselves, it should, I can't speak for everyone else. I can only speak for myself, but it should come easy for you. But those of us that are used to being around others, that's going to come harder for you. And you're going to have to be acquainted with your solitude. Okay. You may want for others to be around you, but that's not what the Lord wants in your walk. All right. So let me find my page again. All right, so I got 2 Corinthians chapter 9 verse 6 on the screen. Now I know more than likely just dealing with alms, like money giving and things of that nature, but alms can also be us doing this work, all right, which is the greatest thing we can give one another. All right, learning, understanding, all right, exhortation, so on and so forth. So it says, but this I say, he which soweth sparingly shall reap also sparingly. Okay, I'm gonna get the word soweth. I want to get sparingly, but I'm gonna get the word soweth while we're here too. And so it says to sow, scatter seed, metaphorically of proverbial sayings. All right, and honestly, what are we sowing right now in this ministry? All right, that sowing of these lessons, whether it be camp or sit downs throughout the week, those are things that we're storing up in our as said, the spiritual bank account, which is all going to be connected to our faith. Okay, because that's the most major thing we're going to be drawing from in the times of trouble, right? Is our faith, continuing on in the things that we learned, all right, but as pilgrims. Okay, and it's going to take your faith to get you through those things, your trust in the Lord, believing what you read, not just be reading them and just thinking that this is just a portion of this story, that story. No, man. Reading these things and understanding the things and the situations our forefathers and foremothers went through in the past are things that we may very well experience. And some of those situations may be the very same situations, but those things aren't to get you down. You learn about these things and read about these things and get an understanding of these accounts so that you in your spirit know how to deal with them when they come about. See? So these things aren't to put you in, any fear you should have should be fear of the Lord, but just put you in some crazy fear or to get you down and out. No, these are things that should exhort you. It's like, yeah, okay, right. Let me keep strengthening while I can, because there's going to come a cutoff point, man. Amos chapter 8. Let me read that one real quick. Okay, Amos chapter 8. And what matter of fact, we'll also possibly get the other one in, is Isaiah 33. Let me get this one right. Amos chapter 8, verse 11. It says, behold, the days come, said the Lord Yahweh, that I will send a famine in the land, and not a famine of bread, nor thirst for water. Now, there will be an actual a shortage of supplies and sustenance and so on and so forth. That's going to be through the means of Esau and his tampering. Okay, but what's the main famine here? It says, but of hearing the words of Yahweh, which are coming through the mouths of his prophets, whether it's online or on the streets, week in, week out. Okay, and they shall wander from sea to sea. Those people of the earth shall wander around, wondering what's going on, and from the north even to the east. All right, like a compass. Okay, and a whole circumference. Okay, a radius, I should say. All right, people are going to be going around, wondering, looking, searching, seeking, but they're not going to be finding. All right. It says to seek the word of Yahweh and shall not find it. Why are they not going to find it? Because the mouths of the prophets are going to be shut, because that is where the words of the Lord are coming from. Ezekiel 33 and 33. When these things shall come to pass, then shall you know that a prophet had been among you. That's why we always tell you whether they were here or whether they will forbear. But the point being that the words, the true words and the true meaning of the scriptures are coming from the true prophets of the Lord. And when those mouths are shut, there's no more internet lessons. There's no more camps on the street. Okay? Now, of course, as we mentioned before, there may be the situations where the Lord is taking certain individuals through certain, since we use that word, certain grief, right? Which would jolt their spirit in the midst of Jacob's trouble. And that individual, all right, that was persuaded at that moment in their mind to seek Yahweh Bashim Awashai and is accepted, may be sent your way, which means you also, as a leader, have to be prepared to deal with that individual. Meaning, you're not going to be able to show, a certain level of weakness, okay? Because if they're looking towards you as their leader, all right, and the leader is stooped to too much grief and sorrow and worry and always thinking a little bit too much, that's going to worry the people. And they're going to take after your characteristics that they see that you are displaying as their leader in a time of trouble. Make sense? So these are things that we're going to have to be acquainted with. Grief. That grief doesn't overcome us, because it's going to happen. It is going to happen to the closest individuals of us. All right? We may not know who those individuals may be, but it's going to happen to some very close individuals in some situations. And we cannot let that stop us on our path. Like in that movie, I think came on the other night, The Book of Eli, right? Regardless of what he faced, it did not stop him from the mission that he was on. Okay, and basically our mission is towards salvation, man. He that endureth unto the end, the same shall be saved. Okay? Let me get Isaiah 33. I mentioned it. I might get the other one too, because these are all scriptures I don't have. Okay? Isaiah 33 and 6. And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times. All right? The knowledge is what we learned up until that very same point, where the ministry has finally come to a halt. And now we're moving on to a phase of pilgrimage and testing of faith. And the wisdom is the application of what we've learned up until that point, especially in Jacob's trouble. All right, because we do it now to the best of our ability in our everyday lives. But what's going to count the most is in all those times of trouble. It says, it shall be the stability of thy times, which is talking about Jacob's trouble, and strength of salvation. The fear of Yahweh is his treasure. And that is what it's all about. The fear of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah. The elect are going to be, afraid of the Lord in that day. We're afraid of the Lord now. But my point is, versus the 2/3 and the rest of the nations, they're not going to understand what's going on until the glory of the Lord is revealed through Yahweh Shah and the holy angels. And then they're going to get it. And then they're going to be destroyed. And then when the world to come afterwards, which is the kingdom of heaven being established, then all the nations are going to know the name of Yahweh and Yahweh Shah. And that fear through Jacob's trouble will be established. And the hopeful elect, we already fear the Lord, but there's still a certain way we're going to have to move through Jacob's trouble, the only way is in the spirit, man. But move through Jacob's trouble, so that very same fear of the Lord does not fall upon us as wrath. Okay, but the fear that we operate falls upon us as mercy. And that's what we're all seeking for, mercy. Ezekiel 9 and 4. The why? Exemption from judgment. And that's why this truth is so important, even though you have individuals who still play around with it. Okay? But going back here to this point, and I'm kind of, I guess we're really not making even the point that I intended to make, but, it is what it is, man. Okay? So, be as far as the ministry goes. Okay. Doing the works now. You have to work the works in the daytime because the night coming. What is it talking about? It's talking about exactly what we just mentioned, where it seems like there's peace and safety in a normal life now. This is where you're able to work the works, where no one's stopping you from doing the work, save your own flesh. All right. Like the scriptures say, the spirit is indeed willing, but the flesh is weak. And it's your own flesh that stops you from doing a lesson or whatever the case may be. All right. Now, I'm not saying that sometimes, the spirit's just not, kicking a lesson to you. Maybe you're just waiting for something to come. But that means where you were able to do something, but you're not doing it. When you have the chance to do lessons or, appear at camp or wherever the case may be. Open opportunity, free time to do it, and you're not doing it. That's the category that I'm speaking on. Okay. Because we all wait for lessons to come. But I'm talking about those that are able to speak on things and go into things and talk about things, whether it be history or exhortation or some kind of other lesson, but you're just not doing it. Okay. Sitting on your hands when your hands are actually free for work. This I say, he would sow it sparingly. Let's get the word sparingly. Okay. And it says what? It just says sparingly. Let's see what this says. If so, we have to Google punch it. To spare, abstain. That's good, but it's not enough. So let's see what sparingly comes up as in a simple, Google search here. Sparingly. Okay, it says in a restricted or infrequent manner, in small quantities. You see? Infrequent, not occurring often, rare. Yet when your hands are free, but you still decide, I'm not going to do a lesson. It'll be okay. I'll do it tomorrow. Tomorrow's not promised. Okay? An airplane can fall from the sky and drop on your house that very same night. It's not promised. You have to work the works in the daytime, because when the night comes, that Amos 8 and 11 we just read in verse 12, when Jacob's trouble comes, the night comes, when the trouble comes, when the devil is coming down with great wrath, you're not going to be able to put in works. Okay? And the scriptures talk about showing your faith by your works. They go hand in hand. If you say you have faith, you're going to put in the work. And it also applies to those that are looking at the ministry. Okay, don't wait. This ain't double dutch where you wait to jump in at a certain moment so you don't get clipped by the two ropes swinging. Nah, man. If the Lord has put the spirit upon you to come in the ministry, you need to move. Okay, make use of the time that you have now, because the time is coming where none of us are going to be able to work. Any spiritual, conversations and teachings or whatever is going to be going on will be, like we mentioned earlier, be amongst a small group of people who are all going to be fleeing from the injustice of the people looking for us, which will be some of your family members or fake friends that you used to have in the world, or just regular people of society, military groups, okay, or I should say militant groups, but yeah, military is a part of that or whatever. You're going to be public enemy number one. Those that fear the Lord, which we have that. We're going to read it later. Okay. It says not occurring often, rare. Okay. So in a restricted or infrequent manner, in small quantities. And what did he tell Peter? If you love me, feed my lambs, feed my sheep. See? So let's go back. And it says, but this I say, he which soweth sparingly shall reap also sparingly. You might ask, what does this have to do with the other topic before? Because the work that we're putting in now not only shows our fear of the Lord and our reverence of the Lord, but these things are storing up that faith in the heavens, because by going into these scriptures and learning and growing and having an understanding of things, okay, those things all attribute to your faith. Because when SHTF, okay, once again, your faith is going to be all that you had, and that faith encompasses everything, all your learning and your understanding and so on and so forth. Your faith encompasses everything. And that is the only thing you're going to have to draw from, which is from your trust and your fear in the Lord. But this I say, he which soweth sparingly shall reap also sparingly. And he which soweth bountifully shall reap also bountifully. And here's the thing here. Because the scriptures talk about the slothful servant. So don't think, well, okay, I'm getting the Bible with a few lessons here and there and so on and so forth, right? Well, the scriptures speak about this. So there's no juking this situation here. If you sow sparingly, you'll reap sparingly. And if you're not careful, that sparingly may not be a blessing like you think it's going to be. It may be actually you put to death. Okay? You be cast out into utter darkness. The scriptures talk about the slothful servant. It says, and he which soweth bountifully shall reap bountifully. Okay? Let's see what bountifully goes into. An invocation of blessing, benediction, consecration. See what the other word. Make sure we're getting the right word here. It says two definitions here. Okay, so it's the first one, all right? So G2129, bountifully. All right. And it says here, praise, laudation, panegyric, fine discourse about language, consecration. All right, so let's see what it also says. A concrete blessing, a benefit. You see? A concrete blessing, a benefit. And that's what we're looking for. A concrete blessing. Concrete meaning that how the best way to explain this? Like when you hear someone say it's set in stone. Okay? This is basically something that's promised to us if we stay the course. Okay? Like the scriptures tell us, those that endure to the end, the same shall be saved. And also mentions how you be crowned with the crown. And I shall give you the morning star. Those are things promised to us already if we stay the course. And if you're of the elect, you will stay the course anyways. It's already written in your path to do that. Okay? To invoke blessings. See? Favored of the Most High, blessed. To cause to prosper, make happy, to bestow blessings on. You see? As the disciples asked, what will we get in return for doing this work? Okay? Are we not asking the same thing? Or well, actually, we don't have to ask because we can go into the scriptures and read what the disciples themselves asked. And the Lord told, and broke these things down. And talked about giving, be ruler over 10 cities or such and such cities or whatever. You see, all those things are hand in hand with the same topic there. But if you sow sparingly, you're going to be seen as a slothful servant. Now, not meaning, once again, you have to make the separation. Because maybe, some brothers have, certain schedules, and things of that nature, maybe emergencies that come up. So they're able to do the lessons, and get their lessons out how they do it, through the Spirit. All right, they're still able to get their lesson. But I'm talking about someone who has nothing on their plate. And you got all the free time in the world to be doing something that attributes to the ministry, but you don't, but you refuse to do that. That's the ones who this refers to. You just going, okay, I didn't do something yesterday, because I was chilling out yesterday, but I had the chance to. And, I'm throwing in here today just in case. No, ain't no just in case with the Lord, man. Okay? Ain't no just in case with the Lord, man. This is we're coming to a time period where you got to do, like the apostle said, as much as you could do without destroying yourself, because there's about to be a moment where none of us are going to be doing this work. The ministry is closed now. Okay, at least to the open eyes of the public. See, so we have to work the works now in the daytime. I'm gonna read this in the other versions. Let me get the NLT. 2 Corinthians 9:6, NLT. Remember this: a farmer. I always talk about those plants. Remember this: a farmer who plants only a few seeds will get a small crop. Man, you can't break it down more simple than that. And I worked in the field, okay? If you plant those seeds wrong, they're going to grow wrong. Like if you plant them a little bit too close together, it's not going to grow proper. They need that proper space. Because every plant has their roots, okay? And so you want to have the proper space, all right? You don't want to put them too high above the ground or too low into the dirt or whatever. There's a proper way you have to plant and sow when you're working in the fields, okay? There's a certain way you gotta plow the field and other things, man. Okay. It says, remember this: a farmer who plants only a few seeds will get a small crop. So you can't have 10 acres of land, plant seeds on 2 acres of land, but expect to reap 10 acres of crops. It's not realistic. And this is likening this to the ministry. Okay. You can't do lessons just when you want, when you had, you decide to watch, the football game, a basketball game, football game, or go out somewhere and do this, do that, or whatever, when you should have been putting the time to the ministry first, okay? And then expect a great blessing, okay? When the time of blessings come from Yahushua. Let's keep going. It says, but the one who plants generously will get a generous crop. Let's read this in the AMP. Now remember this: he who sows sparingly will also reap sparingly, and he who sows generously, that blessings may come to others. Woo, you see, the ministry, feed my lamb, feed my sheeps. Come on, man. And he who sows generously, that blessings may come to others, will also reap generously and be blessed. You see? You can't break it down no other way, man. Man, the NOT and the AMP just hit heavy. Let me go over here. 1 Corinthians, was it 1 I wanted? 1 Corinthians 1 and 5. That in everything ye are enriched by him in all utterance and in all knowledge. Is this the one I wanted? Let me see. I don't think it was this one. Let me see. Was it second? I don't think it was 2 Corinthians. If not, we'll just skip over this one. It's okay. Let me see here. It's all good. We can skip that one. I don't think that was the one I wanted. Yeah, it's all good. We can skip that one. Let me get another one then. Okay. I probably jotted down the wrong scripture writing fast. Anyways, let's keep going. Let me pull up this one. It says, it's now concerning spiritual gifts, brethren, I will not have you ignorant. Okay, we want to talk about something else here. Spiritual gifts. All right, everybody has their certain thing that they excel in the ministry. Okay, within their lot. Okay, and to the best of your ability. All right, when you're able to identify what the thing is, that's when you're able to maximize that particular gift. Okay, that you have, which benefits the body. Okay, spiritual gifts, brethren, I would not have you ignorant. As a matter of fact, let me go back to the other one. Yeah, we'll skip over that one. It's okay. So let me go and get this then. All right, Matthew, okay, 10. This is one that's mentioned often. Matthew 10 and 28. It says, and fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul. But rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. Okay, because the Lord can put you to death, never bring you back on this earth, and never reincarnate your spirit again. Just wipe your spirit out from its existence. Okay? It says, are not 2 sparrows sold for a farthing, and one of them shall not fall on the ground without your Father. But the very hairs of your head are all numbered. Fear ye not, therefore, ye are of more value than many sparrows. Okay? It's just going into, your importance. All right? It says, especially beginning with the Israelite men, it says, whosoever therefore shall confess me before men, him will I confess also before my Father which is in heaven, which the true men of the Lord do. We constantly give you the name of Yahweh and Yahushua, having his Father and the Son and the Father's name written in our foreheads. Both Yahweh and Yahushua, the Father and the Son, written in our foreheads. Okay? It says, but whosoever shall deny me before men, him will I also deny before my Father which is in heaven. Okay? And once again, it always starts with the names, man. Okay, if we got the names, we got to give it to him. We can't say that it's okay, right, to call on Jesus the Christ or whatever, or call on some other name, or, call him what you want, right? Yo play yoga, or whatever the case may be. Nah, man. It's about Yahweh while Yahweh Shai. And we're not going to stop giving you those names. He says, think not that I am come to send peace on the earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. Okay, it's going to begin with the time of Jacob's trouble. Then eventually, Yahweh Shai, the angels are going to appear. Okay? It says, for I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. You see, this is that great division that we talked about before. Being acquainted with grief and solitude. Okay? And grief doesn't always have to come in death. You could just be acquainted with grief through the fact that knowing that your own family members may try to turn you into these authorities. Your father, your mother, your sister, your brother, your children, your wife, or for you women, possibly your husband. Because maybe he's a man of the world and you're one who follows the ministry. You see? There's different ways that grief can come upon us, but we have to be prepared spiritually to deal with that it won't put weight in our path, man. For I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. Oh yeah, and going back to the reason why I read that other scripture, it's talking about spirit. Well, actually, we did talk about it, yeah, because everybody has their different gifts that benefit the body and the ministry. So yeah, we did talk about that. I just want to make sure. Okay, it says, and a man's foe shall be they of his own household, those that were closest to you. Okay, immediate family. He that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. Because if you love your parents, your brothers, your sisters, your family members, your children, your wife even, more than you love the Lord, you may be persuaded through them to fall to this man's system. See? And that goes into what we mentioned, being acquainted with solitude. Okay? Knowing that, hey, my wife may take my kids and get all of them chipped up. So you know what? I'm going to have to do what I got to do, okay? And be, because maybe the Lord doesn't quite separate you, right away. But in the back of your mind, you're ready for whatever comes. Because that may end up with you being given up to the authorities, okay? Or it could be having, you haven't abandoned them. Who knows? No one wants to do that. No one wants to even think about that. But who knows? Whatever path the Lord has laid out for you, you have to be well acquainted with those things that you are faced with. And the only way you can do that is a spiritual preparation, which is through these scriptures. It says, and he that taketh not his cross and followeth after me is not worthy of me. I wonder what this word cross goes into. Maybe nothing, maybe something. A cross, a well-known instrument of most cruel and ignominious punishment, borrowed by the Greeks and Romans from the Phoenicians. To it were affixed among the Romans down to the time of Constantine the Great the guiltiest criminals, particularly the basest slaves, robbers, the authors and abettors of insurrections, and occasionally in the provinces at the arbitrary pleasure of the governors upright and peaceable men also, and even Roman citizens themselves. The crucifixion of which Messiah underwent, an upright stake, especially a pointed one used as much as such in fences or palisades. And at the end of the day, some of us are going to have to go up on that cross, okay? Like Yahushua did. What's going to be that you going up on that cross is the beheading that it talks about in Revelation 20 and 4, okay? That's how you're going to become a martyr. You may not actually go up on a physical cross, okay? But the equivalent to that in these days and ages is you being beheaded for this truth and becoming a martyr for sake of the Lord. But once again, there's that 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. See? It says, and he that taketh not his cross and followeth after me is not worthy of me. Right? Those that are not willing to suffer. You have men that have already fallen out in the truth. Okay? So what more if they would have made it all up to Jacob's trouble? They most definitely would have been untrustworthy individuals. Someone who definitely would give you over to the authorities so they can get, a little food here or there or whatever. Maybe like Cypher did, all right? So they can sit around and eat steak and forget about the real world going on around them. It's going to be part of Esau society. Be a part of the digital age. Okay? That's why the scriptures tell you that no man putting his hands to the plow and looking back is fit for the kingdom. All right? Because that man is untrustworthy. Okay? A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. It says, he that findeth his life shall lose it, and he that loseth his life for my sake shall find it. And what have we been talking about a lot lately? Okay? Hating this place. Ready to get out of here. Whatever's coming is coming anyways. That's why it's written in the scriptures for our learning. So we understand these things are going to happen. And these things have to happen in order for us to receive the salvation. To receive the kingdom. So Yahushua can receive. I go to prepare a place for you. Okay? He's going to receive us back with his own arms, man. On the chariot. Lord willing, we have that number. But we got to make sure that we're putting in the work, though. Okay? Showing our faith. Showing our works by our faith. Okay? Which is deeper than just that. Because once again, because we talked about that the other day. You did that holy conversation. Okay? And that's why we just talked about not too long ago, all right, wisdom, applying that which you learn. And it's going to come the most handy during Jacob's trouble, because that's a thing that we work on in our everyday life now, okay, tweaking ourselves. But in Jacob's trouble, man, it's going to be extremely important, okay, to stay on that course, man. That's why I mentioned that Book of Eli movie. Yeah, let's stop right there. And yeah, also let me get this, because we can throw another one in there. Speaking about family members and all those things that we read. Okay? Let's get Matthew 12 and 42. I'm sorry, 43. Oh, wait. Okay, yeah. Actually, I want it down below. Excuse me. 46. While he yet talked with the people, behold, his mother and his brethren stood without, desiring to speak with them. Then one said unto him, behold, thy mother and thy brethren stand without, desiring to speak with thee. But he answered and said unto him that told him, who is my mother and who are my brethren? And he stretched forth his hand toward his disciples and said, behold, my mother and my brethren. Because it says what? For whosoever shall do the will of my Father which is in heaven, the same is my mother. The same is my brother and sister and mother. Those of us in this truth, those of us of the household of faith, all right, the tabernacles of David, all right, in this ministry, rooted in the ministry. Those are the real brothers and sisters and so on and so forth. That, in other words, that's your true family, because your family of the world may be persuaded by some situations in Jacob's trouble, but you don't have time to worry and count on that. You see? Because they may very well never accept this truth. And you can't allow your family to hold you back and have you fall out of this truth. Okay? And that very same family, friends, whoever, people of the world, maybe some of the ones that actually give you over to the FEMA troops or FEMA camps or whatever. So there's many avenues that may play out, that will play out in Jacob's trouble, but we don't know the path that we're going to have to take. That's why the scriptures were written aforetime for our learning. These things have to be in us when the time comes. All right. So, matter of fact, let me get a couple over here. Speaking on the faith, right? Hebrews 11:8. It says, by faith, Abraham, when he was called to go out into a place which he should after receive for an inheritance, obeyed, and he went out, not knowing whither he went. By faith, he sojourned in the land of promise, as in a strange country, dwelling in tabernacles with Isaac and Jacob, the heirs with him of the same promise. It says, for he looked for a city which had foundations, whose builder and maker is the Most High. All right, that New Jerusalem, which begins with the 144,000 men. It says, but we're also going to have a actual Jerusalem, a place that's going to be built up by, heathen slaves, beginning with Esau, Edom, that 1,000 years. It says, through faith also, Sarah herself received strength to conceive seed, and was delivered of a child when she was past age, because she judged him faithful who had promised. See? Therefore sprang there even of one, and him as good as dead, so many as the stars of the sky in multitude, and as the sand which is by the seashore innumerable. These all died in faith, not having received the promises, but having seen them afar off, which means they're going to be reincarnated to receive those things, and were persuaded of them, and embraced them, and confessed that they were strangers and pilgrims on the earth. For they that say such things declare plainly that they seek a country. Okay? Here we have no continuous city, but we seek one to come. See? It says, and truly, if they had been mindful of that country whence they came out, they might have opportunity to have returned. But now they desire a better country, that is in heavenly, wherefore the Most High is not ashamed to be called their power, for he hath prepared for them a city. See? And what does it say up here? Pilgrims. In the time of Jacob's trouble, that's what we're going to have to be. Pilgrims. Ain't nobody be walking around out here. All right? See, the American people think it's a joke, man. What's about to go down in America? It ain't a joke, man. But the Lord warned us, those that have our eyes awake. He warned us what's going to happen. That's what I'm talking about, what I'm talking about now, being acquainted with grief and solitude. So let's get this word pilgrim. It says what? One who comes from a foreign country to a city or land to reside there by the side of the natives. Those of us, for example, that are here in Babylon the Great. We're pilgrims here in a strange land among strange people. Okay? We're exiles, the captive exiles. Wherever we are on this earth, we're pilgrims already. And we're going to have to resume our pilgrimage in Jacob's trouble, which through the Spirit, by angels guiding us, or however the case may be, going from place to place to place on your journey, on your walk, which may come with individuals along with you. See? A stranger sojourning in a strange place, a foreigner. In the New Testament, metaphorically in reference to heaven as the native country, one who sojourns on the earth. And we know one is living in the heavenly realm, okay? But it's just talking about the kingdom of heaven being established on the earth, okay? As a matter of fact, speaking on pilgrims, we're going to close up from Ezra. Let's just do this. Okay, all those news downloads. Let me just go and find a book here. All right, so let's go over here to Ezra chapter 16. Come on. Okay, so let's go over here to second Ezra chapter 16. We read these often. Verse 70. For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses, taking you away where? To the FEMA camps. See? And that may come through your family members who gave you up, but that's just your walk. And you have to be spiritually prepared for that. Whether you're going to be in a FEMA camp or out there on a pilgrimage in the wilderness. We don't know, but your mind has to be spiritually prepared to go to a FEMA camp, because you may go and you may not go. But if you're not prepared for it, you may be shaken in your faith. And how do you prepare for it? Diving into these scriptures now. Knowledge and wisdom shall be the stability of thy times. You see? I've already prepared myself for being in the FEMA camp, and I may never ever see one. Who knows? Only time will tell. And that goes for all of us. But if you never prepare for it, it's going to be a heavier shakeup. Okay? It says, then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as the golden. Yeah, because we're going to be made public examples. We're going to be public enemy number one. Family, other people of the world, all right? All going to be against those that fear the name of Yahweh and Yahushua. And it's going to begin with the prophets, the men of the Lord. It says, hear ye, my beloved, said the Lord. Behold, the days of trouble are at hand, which is Jacob's trouble. But I will deliver you from the same. I will deliver you. That's a zero doubt situation, man. He that endureth unto the end, the same shall be saved. That's a zero doubt situation. It says, be ye not afraid, neither doubt, for the Most High is your guide. Okay, I believe there's another one. Is it also in Edges? Also talks about pilgrims, be as pilgrims on the earth. Is that in this chapter another one? Let me see if I can pop up pilgrims again. Yep, it's in this chapter. Here we go. Second Edges. We're going to end it here, man. I think enough is said. Verse 38, as when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains, when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. Even so shall, and you women shall understand this more than the men, because those women that have children, I should say, you should understand this scripture more than the men, because you know what it feels like to have one child. And this is what the Lord is telling you about the things that are coming on the earth. The troublesome times of Jacob's trouble. It says, even so shall not the plagues be slack. All right, all the pestilence, the famines, the war, and all the other things that the Lord says he's going to bring. Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn. The oikomeni, everybody in the earth, shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. Amos chapter 5. The day of the Lord is darkness and not bright. As if a man did flee from a lion and a bear met him, or a serpent bit him, so on and so forth. The day of the Lord is darkness and not bright. Very dark, okay? The time of trouble. It says, oh, my people, hear my word, make you ready to thy battle, the spiritual battle, because you cannot prepare for this carnally like Esau. This is a spiritual battle that you've entered into by coming into the ministry. So that means in order to fight the spiritual battle, you have to prepare spiritually, which is within these scriptures, these precepts. O my people, hear my word, make you ready to thy battle, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. You see, you're going to have to forsake all and have your tunnel vision on the kingdom of heaven. That should be your focus. Salvation. Yahushua coming. Look up, for your salvation is nearer than when you believe. That's where your focus is going to have to be in Jacob's trouble, on Yahushua coming. That's that tunnel vision. All you should be seeing at the end of that tunnel is Yahushua, because you know the Lord is going to deliver, man. Like it says in Edges, 2nd Edges, the 13th chapter. When the Lord shall deliver his creature, okay, whom he kept for, let me get that. whom he hath kept for a season. This thing keeps not clicking over. Come on. All right, let me go to chapter 13. All right, let me see here. Let's start at verse 29. It says, 2nd Esdras 13:29, behold, the days come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth, which are who? The elect. And he shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth. And one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, and one realm against another, because Yahushua and the holy angels are coming. Matter of fact, let's end with what it says in Daniel 12. All right. So it says, and the time shall be when these things shall come to pass, and the sign shall happen, which I showed thee before, and then shall my son be declared, whom thou sawest as a man ascending. Acts chapter 1. And when all which go, who is he talking to, man? There were only the disciples there that saw him go up. So by way of reincarnation, the Lord is speaking to those disciples again, which is universal message, speaking to all the whole free elect remnant. But who were the ones that saw him ascend into heaven? Who is the Lord talking to right here? He's talking to his disciples, which will be which became apostles, which will be reincarnated in these latter days, just like Esdras was spoken about. Woe is me, woe is me. Who shall deliver me in those days? He knew that he was going to have to be reincarnated and face these times of trouble, man. Or even if he didn't know it, the Spirit still had him jot that down. But it plays on reincarnation. Let's read this again, man. See, this is why we always say you got to catch those little tidbit things that people, kind of just skim over. It says, and the time shall be when those things shall come to pass, and the sign shall happen which I shewed thee before. And then shall my son be declared, whom thou sawest as a man ascending. Who saw him ascending? You can get that in Acts chapter 1, verse 9 through 11. The disciples, whom thou sawest as a man ascending. They were the only ones who saw him go up into the chariot. And then they were greeted by the angels. He's going to return the same way you saw him leave. And when all the people hear his voice, every man shall in their own. Hell, Esdras might have been one of those that were reincarnated as one of the apostles. Who knows? It says, and when all the people hear his voice, every man shall in their own land leave the battle. We don't need that. We just want to make the point here. Okay. Let me get Let me just get the other scripture that I was mentioning. Or did I read it already? I think I read it already. Because I really just wanted that particular scripture there. Let me go back up. Here we go. Here's the one. I didn't read it. So it says, verse 26, because I started at 29. It says, the same is he, talking about Yahushua, whom God the highest hath kept a great season. All right? Talking about Yahushua was kept a great season from the time that we just saw him ascend. Okay? So at the Wadi Habashman, I'm glad we read it like this, because we just read that down below. So it says, the same is he, whom God the highest has kept a great season, which by his own self shall deliver his creature. The Lord is going to deliver the elect through Yahushua, and the angels assisting him shall deliver his creature, and he shall order them that are left behind. The remnant. You see? The remnant. And it's going to be, matter of fact, hold on. Wait a minute now. It's not going to be a cakewalk. We mentioned all the time. But these things aren't to get you down. These things are to put a jolt in your spirit, all right? To make sure that, you're getting what you can get now, okay? Confirming the souls of the disciples and exhorting them. This should be exhortation to you. Exhorting them to continue in the faith. You see? Being acquainted with grief and solitude. Because those two things are coming, man. But you cannot let them weigh you down in the time of Jacob's trouble. All right, exhorting them to continue in the faith, and that we must through much tribulation enter into the kingdom of God the highest. Okay, so let's end it with this. I think the point is thoroughly made. Daniel chapter 12. Okay, this is comfort for the elect. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people, which are who? The elect. Okay, strive for the, such as never, it says, for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble, Jacob's trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered. What people? The remnant. Every one that shall be found written in the book. What book? The book of life. Those that are slated to receive salvation from the foundations of the earth. And that's called predestination, that you can read about in the book of Ephesians. See? Let me do this. If the Spirit allows, this will be the last scripture. It'd be a perfect one to end it on. Let me see. Is it Ecclesiasticus or is it let me see. Okay, wait, let me get down here. Yep, Ecclesiasticus 4:28. Strive for the truth unto death, and the Lord shall fight for thee. All right, so we're going to leave it at that. We're going to give all praises, honor, and glory to our power, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rachak Wadash. Once again, double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the whole elect of the Tabernacles of David. Keep your faith, Yasharallah. Increase your faith, and increase your faith. Lord willing, you will edify. Till next time, I'm going to say Shalom, Wa, Abba, Baba, Agadawala.